Sportsman on the line now. John Crawford, number 2 qualifier at the moment, looking for 15.20. And Simon Clare with the Black Pearl, 13.95. 14.07, 15.17. Breakout for John Crawford. Bruce Harvey from Derby. That wasn't deliberate. That's where he's from and that's his name. In the Kestrel Lane, 14.12. Against Rob Creswell. Rob 2 classes Creswell. In the Auto Glim Lane with Audi. So Rob will get there first with a 13.76 and a 14.98. Actually, Rob Creswell goes to number 5. Bruce Harvey gets bumped back 1 spot. Paul Robinson from Toaster against your number 1 qualifier and winner of the Perfect TT Award. It's going to be very hard to shift him off the top spot. Eurodracer.com Perfect TT Award, supported by Andy Hanfield and the Twister Race team. If he hasn't been up already, has he not been up already? He hasn't. Okay. Someone tell Steve Stone he needs to come and collect some pennies from Mr. Simon Groves at Eurodracer, sitting to my right up here in the tower. $14.30 for Paul Robinson, stays 16. Steve Stone, needless to say, stays number 1. Ethan Lyle, 14.90. It says 14.90, I hope. However, that's the dial-in we're giving him. Against Steve Metcalf in the Audi TT. Good to see Ethan still racing something, even though everything else he's got is broke. $14.82 breakout for Steve Metcalf. I don't think that's going to be a 14-second run. Still a 17.97, his first 17-second run for Ethan Lyle. Phil Jones with the Audi Auto Glim side of the racetrack. Kestrel Beer Lane for Morgan Wilson. $15.90 for the Audi and $17.75 for Morgan. They stay 4 and 6 respectively. No help for either. Jack Gooding with Nemesis. The Scirocco in the Kestrel Lane with a 16.19 dial-in. 13.3 for Lawrence Clark with Thunderbug. $13.73 for Lawrence. I don't think that's going to help much. Oh, it doesn't. Jack Gooding, though, goes to number 3 with a 16.30 on a 16.19. Well done, that man. On the line next is Gareth Bates in the Auto Glim Lane and the one and only Polly Judge. 16.41 from Polly. Garrett's number 8 at the minute. Needs to get close to that 15.3 goes. 15.92. 16.36 for Polly. Breaks out by 0.05 of a second. Okay, I think we're on with VW Pro just after Daniel Boucher with the Loco Polo from Epsom. 14.73 actually does move up a few spots to number 12 with that run. Well, the big question is, will Mr. Stevenson be out in this qualifying session of VW Pro? He said he ran out of time last time. I can't see him on the start line filming, so you never know. John Brewster in the Kestrel Lane, 12.65. Graham Fairhead, 11.10 for the Misfit Type 3. Well, that won't be a 12-second run for John Brewster. 11.35 though for Graham Fairhead. About a quarter of a second off. Just waiting for the screens to update when John Brewster gets there. Yeah, Graham Fairhead actually moves up to number 3. James Gould from Norwich with the Mark III Golf in Kestrel Lane, 11.10. Jacob Bailey with the Jetta. Jacob Dart's 10.40. This Jetta, check it out, what runs enormous miles an hour, 140 miles an hour plus. Unfortunately, Jacob still can't quite get it into the 9s. They've been trying for a long, long time. The speed kind of dictates he should be going a lot quicker than that. Good looking run for Jacob. You can actually see the gaps in the tyre tracks where he changes gear. Jacob slowing at the top end to 11.94. 11.26 though for James Gould. No improvement, but stays number 2. So, Mr. Pray for my CVs. One thing with front wheel drive cars, obviously everything's up front, so it gives the drivetrain, and there's a lot of standard parts on these cars, a lot of abuse. And they're regularly something that goes pop, unfortunately. Paul Jackson with the Lupo, 10.45 for the little Pirate. Goose goes 11.26, goes up to number 4. Paul Jackson, number 8 with a 10.93. Good improvements for both of them. Ian Dale, the strip burner. Kestrel Beer Lane taking on Kyle. I can make anything in the world run well. Goldsmith in the Auto Glove line. Kyle does 10.40 this time. He also runs in E-Class as well. Runs in Pro ET, runs in Street Eliminator too. 10.87 for Carl, actually goes to number 8. 12.25 breakout for Ian Dale by about a quarter of a second actually. Tom Herbert. It's a really good field of cars in VW Pro this weekend, taking on James Hodson. They're all getting ready for next weekend. However, there's the business of a big trophy to win this weekend as well. James Hodson, 10.19. Tom Herbert's looking for 11.75. That's more like it from James Hodson. $11 flat, 132, 12.20 for Tom Herbert. Actually goes up to number 7. Rob Carter, number 5 qualifier with that insanely quick Audi S4 out there. Looks like it shouldn't go anything like as quick it does. Against James Rhodes with a 10-second Lupo, would you believe? Yep. $10.89 for James Rhodes, goes to number 2. Rob Carter gets bumped back 1 spot, goes 11.96 and breaks out. Well, the most amazing news of the year so far is Luke Stevenson might have made it down for a qualifying run. So we got Dave Crowhurst Venting the nitrous, trying to get deep into the nines. 9.69 in the Auto Glim lane. 12.45 for the very wickedly quick. That looks like it should be a VW Sportsman, not Pro. Get the lay on. Well, Dave Crowhurst, as you'd imagine, is long gone. Looking for a 9.6. 9.51 for Dave Crowhurst. 146 miles an hour. Big, big plume of smoke in the Kestrel lane for the Seat. We're going to have to check that one out. Hopefully it's only a hose. Poor Luke Stevenson's in his race car behind the start line for the first time in 8 years, and something lets go in the shutdown area, so he has to sit there for even longer. Would you believe it? That is a big, 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 big plume of smoke. To the point he actually looks like he's on fire going around the top end. We have, unfortunately, the fortunate news, or unfortunate news is, we have a track crew with legs akimbo through the top end, which means we do have a clean-up to do in the Kestrel beer lane. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. I do think that's rather ironic that the first time Luke makes it down in 8 years, all the brand new stuff on the car, everything else as well, and he has to sit there for even longer, just to stew that a little bit more. Back to qualifying, superb job as always by the incredible Santa Pod Raceway track crew. Abby Tether with the Golf in the Kestrel lane, 12.88. $13.08. Actually, she's number one. She stays at number one. Underneath the tower now we have Mr. Luke Stevenson. Instead of being in the tower, he's underneath the tower. This is actually completely rebuilt, this car. Previous record holding machine from years gone by. So Luke, with this is the first time out for about 8 years with this car. He ran it very, very briefly just after he bought it. He spent a tortuous 8 years with it in various bits. Completely changed the engine combination, which is the main reason it's taken so long to get it for him to get it back together. Good luck, Luke. I hope it all goes well. Just wants to get from one end of the track to the other, make sure everything works, stays in one piece. The 12.99 dial-in is kind of arbitrary because that's the minimum you can dial in for VW Pro. Well, he's building a little bit of boost. Well, it moved, it went. I think that will be technically a success. Trickles through the 1494, 88 miles an hour. Definitely not his quickest run ever, but a very, very important one.